For the next 3 hours, Alvin and his team scoured through the mess that had once been their headquarters. Azizu and Rafi repaired a chair with a screwdriver from the remains of Azizu's detective kit. The girls helped Wei-Ling sort out her crime files, slowly shifting through the hundreds of scattered pages, bringing them back into correct order. One of the boxes found had been damaged, and Apita skillfully repaired it with a tape. Alvin was so busy with another roll of tape, replacing the pages torn from one of Wei-Ling's incident book. They talked as they worked. "It's kind of weird, isn't it?" Azizu asked no one in particular. "Nothing's been stolen. I mean, everything's a complete mess, but nothing's missing, right? Do you think they were looking for money?" "Maybe computers too," Apita speculated. "Well, they tore the place apart looking for them," Rafi surmised. "Except I don't think they were amateur burglars." Alvin looked up sharply. "Why?" "For one thing, they didn't break a window to get in, which a lot of amateur burglars do," Rafi replied. Then he nodded towards the door. "And have a look at the lock. It wasn't forced. Whoever got in here was a professional." Azizu looked at Alvin. "I hope your mom doesn't find out. She'll go ballistic if she thinks gangsters were involved." "That's why we have to tell Sergeant Sue what's happened," Wei-Ling stated flatly. Alvin ignored her comment. Her voice was very low and cold. "Actually, they did steal something," he announced. Everyone darted their gaze in his direction. Alvin stood up, crossed the room. He pointed to the pieces of tape that had once held two charts to the wall. "Our charts on the Chan case. They've been stolen." Silence gripped the room. Mars broke it. "But who'd want them?" she asked in disbelief. "They've got no value, only to us." Apita shook her head. "I know what Alvin is getting at. They have value to whoever is impersonating Dr. Chan." Wei-Ling's eyebrow shot up. "Are you saying Dr. Chan's double broke in and did this?" Raphael replied. "Maybe not the double himself, but the people working behind the double." Mars was bewildered. Her gaze shot. She gazed around at the remaining destruction. "I don't get it. I don't think an impersonator would do this. I mean, it just doesn't make sense." Azizu got up and stretched. "If you ask me, only one person could have done this, and that's the snake." "Great thinking, Azizu," Alvin said. "But what's the snake got to do with Dr. Chan?" Apita challenged. "And why would he wreck our place? We're not investigating anything to do with him," Mars argued. Azizu sat down on the chair that he and Rafi had fixed. It wobbled slightly, but he was satisfied it was strong enough to hold him. "Hey, who knows what the snake is up to? He's got his fingers in lots of pies." Wei-Ling closed one of her box files. The files inside restored the perfect order. "Alvin, we have no choice. We have to tell Sergeant Sue about this." Mars nodded briskly. "I agree with Wei-Ling. She's right. We can't keep it from him." She flashed Alvin a worried look. "And don't forget what Rafi said. The lock was opened by a professional. That means he must have been one of the snake's men." Wei-Ling handed Alvin his cell phone. She faced him, hands on hips. "Well, Alvin, what are you waiting for?" "I can't." "What do you mean?" "I can't tell Sergeant Sue anything." "You mean you don't want to?" Wei-Ling accused. "No," Alvin admitted. "He's kind of, well, out of touch." Azizu was startled. You mean he and your mom aren't friends anymore? Alvin flapped his hands. I don't know. Mom just said he was busy. Marsh queried. Too busy doing what? Mom didn't say. Wailing polished her glasses. Surely if you thought the sergeant he'd talk to you, Alvin. Alvin sighed. I don't know. He stooped down to pick up a broken pen. Can we just finish cleaning up the mess? Later that afternoon, when headquarters was finally back in shape, everyone went home to get ready for the school week ahead. Only Alvin stayed behind. His gaze went to where the two charts had been taped. Their disappearance was both sudden, mystifying and disturbing. He sensed the Chan case had become a lot more complicated, more hazardous too. If the snake were involved, Alvin reasoned, then the danger level had shot up. The snake only got involved in major crimes, so how could a famous heart surgeon such as Dr. Eugene Chan be interested to a master criminal? He sat back in his chair, staring around the room. If professional criminals had targeted his headquarters, common sense told him it wasn't a safe place to be alone, and that annoyed Alvin deeply. His headquarters was more than the place where he and his friends met to solve mysteries. It was the scene of so many victories, so many achievements. In truth, it was like a sheet of anchor in Alvin's life. This was where he came to connect with his deeper self, and with his dead spirit. Solving mysteries was Alvin's whole reason for being alive. He was convinced of it. The car park door sprang open. Heart racing, Alvin leapt out of his chair. I thought I'd better come back and see if you were okay, Wheeling said. I didn't like you being alone after what happened. I can look after myself, Alvin said gruffly. I thought you might say you might like some help with the case, she offered. How? We can talk about it, she hesitated. For example, why would the snake care if we help Dr. Chan find his double? Alvin tensed. He had been wondering what the connection was between the doctor and the snake. Suddenly, Wheeling's question had put a slightly different focus on the mystery. Yes, Alvin breathed. Why would the snake care? He stared at Wheeling, but didn't let her see his admiration for the way her deductive process worked. He'd only care if we interfered with something he was planning. So what is he planning? Wheeling asked. That's the question. He couldn't be planning to commit a crime with the doctor, could he? Alvin wondered out loud. No, that would be out of the question. There's got to be another reason, Wheeling pointed out. Something so obvious we can't even see it, Alvin snapped. Suddenly a silence fell between them. Wheeling took a quick step closer. Alvin, I understand how you must feel. When Alvin looked back blankly, she hurried on. Your mom and Sergeant Sue have been together for a long time. It's horrible to think something might have come between them. Alvin tried to turn away, but she held him close. Don't you see why it's so important that we stay together, Alvin? I couldn't imagine not having you for my boyfriend. I don't know what I'd do without you. Alvin was quiet. Don't you feel the same? Wheeling pressed. He finished around in his mind for words. I suppose. Wheeling reached out. Is that all you want to say? A knock sounded at the car park door. A head poked around the corner. Hi, Alvin, Alice Chan said. Here I am, 6 o'clock as promised.